There is a moment on the healing path when nothing seems to surface, no new trigger, no fresh insight. It feels like stillness. But beneath that stillness, a deeper truth begins to stir. That is what happened on May 7, 2024. Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome back to Light Beneath Layers, a journey of knowing thyself. I sat with my coach that day and shared the details of what seemed like an ordinary afternoon. No big emotion, no rising pain. Just the quiet simplicity of a conversation with an old client. Someone I had known for many years. He had come to propose a business idea involving his nephew and my daughter. After the meeting, we chatted casually. Then out of nowhere, he mentioned a man I had not thought of in years. One of my ex-husband's friend. And the moment he praised him, something subtle shifted inside me. It was not guilt, it was not shame, it was simply a knowing. Because once upon a time that man had sparked something in me, a feeling I had never known in my marriage. Back then, I was carrying so much, the finances, the emotional labor, the spiritual burden of being the good girl. My marriage felt one-sided, but I stayed bound by culture, expectations, especially from my brothers, who believed that leaving would bring dishonor to the family. And then he appeared, my ex-husband's friend. He was not living in our home, but in a nearby shared rental property. He and another tenant, who would later become my client, rented rooms side by side. They became good friends, which is why my client remembered him so fondly. This man was light, he was joyful, helpful, effortlessly kind. He sang, he danced, he noticed what needed doing and did it without being asked. He did not bring weight. He brought a loving gravity into my life, a quiet force that pulled me towards softness, play, and the forgotten ease of simply being seen. And without intending to, he became a mirror, a glimpse of what love could feel like. That short chapter planted a quiet seed inside me. Maybe my marriage is not meant to last. Maybe I deserve a love that feels like ease, like joy, like dance. But in our culture, a woman is not allowed to recognize the absence of connection in her marriage. She must be loyal in her mind, her soul, even her subconscious. The moment she begins to awaken to her own unmet needs, even in the most innocent, heart-centered way, her character is questioned. So as my client spoke of him, the old good girl reflex rose up in me. I wanted to defend myself, even though no one accused me. Let me say it before you assume it. Yes, I liked him. And yes, everyone probably already knew. All of this was playing out silently in the private theater of my mind. He had no idea, but I did. Because the old programming still lived inside me. In our culture, a woman's desire is not seen as human. It is seen as shameful. A divorced woman is tolerated only if she remains quiet, modest, invisible. If she remarries, it is barely accepted. And if that marriage ends, the whispers begin. If she dares to marry a third time, she becomes a punchline, a woman of questionable morals. Yet in Islam, remarriage is not a sin. It is allowed, even encouraged. So why does culture carry more weight than faith? Because control thrives on shame. I told my coach, I'm not looking, I'm happy, I'm content. I'm also very selective. Since my divorce, I have only felt a deep connection once. But he was not accepted by my family due to cultural differences. If I were to meet someone again, I would want him to be Pakistani. So I could bring him home and introduce him with pride. My hesitation is not about race or language. It is about belonging. And then the deeper fear. What will people think? In our society, if a woman is seen with a man who is not her husband, the relationship is instantly sexualized. Even if it is rooted in love, respect, or divine connection. It is reduced to lust. Meanwhile, cruelty, dishonesty, even abuse are overlooked. But a woman following her heart, that is the real sin. This distortion is not just cultural, it is systemic. A deep collective programming that teaches us to fear our own instincts, to suppress our joy, to mistrust our hearts. Why? Because if we feel we are always sinful, we will keep asking for permission from elders, from gurus, from religious leaders to live our lives. And so the cycle continues. I told my coach, if I were to introduce a man to my family without being married, I could not yet. Not because God would judge me, but because culture would. Because in the eyes of many, sacred love is not valid if it does not come with a legal stamp. But I know better now. I am learning, deconstructing, releasing the shame that was never mine, the silence that was handed down to me, the labels were never belonged. Each time I speak my truth, another chain falls away, and maybe someday, when I am truly free, fully free, I will walk into love with no apology, no explanation, just presence, just peace, because love, when chosen from the soul, is not a sin. It is sacred.